Welcome to another Transformers animated review. This time we're going to be looking at the Voyager class Blitzwing figure. Blitzwing's first alternative mode, which is his primary one for this toy, is a fighter jet. It is basically reminiscent of the show counterpart. From the top, it does have the basic shape of a fighter jet, and that the colors are primarily purple and this sand color. But the biggest problems with this design is that it has the tank treads visible from almost any angle, even almost partly from the top, and that the gun turrets from the tank look awkward at best from the back. A couple other design flaws in this figure is that the cockpit here doesn't really hold together all too well. It looks like with this clip here, looks like it would be able to snap in, but the face gets in the way, so there's nothing that the clip could snap into. But I don't think it would have been too hard to design something that could hold that easily in place, because it does fall down pretty easily. On mine, however, like some other reviewers, the nose cone on mine is actually pretty well snug in there. It doesn't simply fall down. It actually has a good amount of friction in the joint here. It does have the gold Decepticon symbol on the cockpit here, and this is the only symbol on it, and this is visible in the jet mode and robot mode only. It is not visible in the tank mode, as you will soon see. The jet mode is supposed to be the cold phase out of the three phases for Blitzwing, as in all of his weapons are supposed to be cold in robot and jet mode, but this is lacking any forward missiles. The missiles are stationed in the back and cannot be moved. So even if you wanted to have the missiles fire forwards, you can't. They're stuck in the jet exhaust place in the back. It would have been nice to have some additional missiles to put under the wings that would look like he's firing ice attacks, as his character would in the show. But that's not all that important. As a design, though, the jet is actually pretty impressive. It actually does have some qualities taken over from the original Generation 1 jet mode. The wings have a very square shape, as with the Generation 1 toy, and the color pattern is the same, as the wings are gray while the wings are purple, as the rest of the body is gray. It does technically could consider this landing gear, but on the back, on the bottom of the treads, it does have wheels, four of them, two on each side. But the one big problem is that since these really don't lock into, they do lock into this, but not all too well, it still leaves a lot of range of motion and can pop out pretty easily. And one note, I'm not sure if this is how it's supposed to be, but I like to have the missiles pointed so that the launcher is on the sides, because I didn't realize it, but I had it turned around something like that, but it's in the way now, so that the button was on the bottom, and while trying to snap the legs in place, it nearly hit me in the eye. So that's something to be cautious of. As a primary tank or alternate mode, this is actually fairly good, because one of the biggest problems we've had with triple changes which is something really hard to show, or something really hard to get rid of, is all the excess kibble from all the other modes, which this has its fair share of. But it actually looks, from a distance, if you look at it from certain angles, you will not be able to tell that is a triple changer. To change him into second mode, which is a tank, going to start by folding down the rear wings here and then fold them inward, and then detach them from the tank treads here. Leave that by itself for now. Make sure you get a hold of this, well, because you're going to be folding down the cockpit into the body here, but if you don't get a hold of it, it will actually expose the head and won't be functional. So you just kind of hold this down and then fold in the nose cone and then fold in the rest of the cockpit for the jet. Then flip this up. Now this is a little tricky part because these really don't have any functional purpose. They just kind of get in the way and just have the looks, but these get caught on the hands here fairly easily. So want to put a little bit extra care in those so they don't pop off. Just kind of have to bend it down and then fold these out to give it the most room it can. This is also kind of a tricky point to attach it. Going to attach it here to here because these wings this torso collapses whenever you try to push it. It looks like it's attached right now, but it's really not. The best way, for me anyway, to be able to do that is to move the head out of the way and get a fair amount of pressure on the outside and in the middle, and then I'll easily snap in place, and I'll show it that is really snug in place. And I'll show just how snug it is later. And then before we move the wings in place, take out the treads and fold the feet all the way in. Okay, rotate these up, the wings in, and bend them a little bit just so it's covering the innards, as I'll say, of the tank. Then rotate the turrets around, and so the buttons are facing upward. And there he is in his tank mode. Now, this is really compact and very small. It's almost smaller than a deluxe class vehicle, and I'm really glad that they didn't package him in tank mode, because that would just seem like such a big box for this figure. But other than its size, it is actually really fun. It's actually really fun to be able to roll around. It looks kind of dinky, but still pretty. It's my favorite one out of the vehicle modes, and that actually has the functional guns here, instead of just having being jet fume exhaust. And the turret can rotate all the way around, but does not go up or down. The only real problem I have with this figure, or in this for this figure in this mode, is that it does have the wheels on the bottom, and it seems like it would be able to roll pretty easily, which it could if the treads were aligned perfect. But as you can see, they move around with so much ease, and that is because they do not actually attach to anything in this form, as opposed to the jet mode. When this was the rear portion, it could snap into place and give it some support, but there's just so much range of movement here that's, unless you really got a close eye and just get it as perfect as you can, it will not be able to roll. So that's a problem with pretty much every mode with this toy, is that all the little parts that really you take for granted is that all of them seem pretty loose. Now going from this mode to the robot mode is a little bit trickier, but not too difficult. Going to start by flipping the wing portion up here and straighten it out. extending out the treads, which will become the legs. Opening up the treads again to pull out the heels and rest of the foot. Okay. Now here's the problem I have with this joint. As much as it is as a pain to attach, it is just as much of a pain to detach. Just for now, I'm going to detach or take out the missiles because surely I'll be accidentally firing them, because this is so snug and it's so tight. It's just almost to the point where you feel like you're going to break it by trying, except for that one time. It actually came out pretty easy. Maybe this is getting looser, but all the previous times were pretty difficult while trying to detach this portion from the wing here. And then just spread open the wings, trying to just give this enough room to get out of the way. Just kind of put in between the legs there. And snap this apart here. There you go. Then going to take both the sides and bring them forward, which you'll see they will become the arms. Go ahead and rotate up the head. Then from the back we can attach this socket here into another peg, which is a lot easier this time. Actually, before you do that, you want to rotate this all the way around, because if you rotate it after you get it attached, it'll hit here and you won't be able to. At least I find it that way. Alright, then rotate the wings back, bring forward the arms like this. And rotate the head around. Now go ahead and put back in the missiles. And there he is in his robot mode, which is really impressive for a Voyager class figure. With all the Voyager class figures have been such a disappointment for me with the animated line because they've been so small. But I will do a size comparison a little bit. He has great amount of posability. He has extreme limberness in the legs due to his transformation when his entire upper leg can go into his lower leg. He has multiple points of articulation in his arms. The only bad thing about the arms is that I was kind of expecting, because it's very typical of jets, for the wings to stay on the back, but the wings are actually still attached to the back of the arms. So wherever you move the arms, the wings will go also. So that can be a little in the way for the arm posability. And as you can see, he still has the same gold Decepticon symbol on the chest. Now, one of this figure's biggest gimmicks is what it's known for is his 3 faces. Right now, I have him on his cold face, which I tend to leave him like in this because I was really having a hard time trying to figure out which face to leave him in. But that's the face he came packaged in, so I decided to just leave it there. If we look at the back of the head real quick, you'll see this spin wheel, which is actually has little tiny grooves in it, but they're actually fairly difficult to get a hold of. Right now I'll use them so my hand's not in the way. And his detail on this face is actually not too bad. I would like to see a little bit more sheen in his molecule here, as opposed to just looking like a red blob. And I would like to see a little bit more definition in the very tiny mouth. Rotate it around to his crazy face, which is just simply black with red eyes and mouth to that's kind of sculpted out to look like a jack-o'-lantern. I think this face is okay. It's not my favorite one, but it's actually my least favorite out of 3 because it's just so bizarre to see a Transformer to have this type of face. I'll rotate the face around again. No, wrong way. Yeah, this wheel and back can be rather difficult. I'm just going to rotate like that. And then now we have his angry fire face, which many people said resembles Arnold Schwarzenegger, which kind of lacks in this toy because Arnold Schwarzenegger and the cartoon version of this has a gap in between his 2 front teeth. If we look fairly close, this figure does not. Just has red sunglasses. Would have just liked a little bit more detail there, but I guess that was a little too small for them. Now if we compare him with a couple other Voyagers from the anime line, one of the tallest of Voyager classes is Starscream. And look at them side by side. And from head to toe, they are almost equal. Maybe Starscream having a little bit of an edge with his crest pieces here. But then we look at Blitzwing's partner, which we see him most company with Lugnut. Lugnut? Is there S? No, it's just Lugnut. You can see how he towers an equally pricey Voyager class. So, yeah. He is definitely one of the bigger out of the anime line toys and has about just as much fun and playability as any leader class toy because of him being a triple changer. This met my expectations and went beyond them. There's just a couple things of this figure that I don't like, such as the lack of forward fire missiles in the jet mode, and that everything seems to be kind of loose in every mode. Even in this form, the cockpit doesn't stay in place. You see the slot there and the peg there just kind of just barely meet. There's no friction between them at all. It just simply falls in place. And I would have liked to see a little bit more of a better way to turn the faces, but you can still turn one. They did good when they made it so you can turn the head and it's still keep on the face that you have it on at the moment, which is actually something I was worried about because I was almost certain that once ever you turn the head, it would turn the face along with it. But they actually did a pretty good job at that. I'll highly recommend this figure. It is very unique. One of the better of the Voyager class figures, and almost one of the best simply best Decepticons out of the anime line. Really fun for both pure collectors and for new kid fans of the TV show. So definitely get this figure once you have the chance. Until next time, thanks for watching.